nothing at all in between. This is Bernard McGurk.
So Bernie.
This is Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Party in
77 WABC.
All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse.
Back with hour number 2 of the Bernie and Sid show right here on legendary 77 WABC. Of course, we want to thank former NYPD Commissioner Bernard Kerik stopping in today to commemorate 15 years since 9/11. Of course, the actual day coming up Sunday, September the 11th. But
a good man. What a man who got screwed.
Yes, he did.
Got screwed.
Listen,
big time.
I don't care if he's guilty. You know, it's kind of like Charles Rangel.
It was such small potatoes.
Right.
But, I mean, the guy was a hero, and the things he did, and they didn't have to send him to jail.
I could not agree more.
That's what, it was very vindictive on somebody's part. I don't know who the hell it was, but.
He stood up for this city at the time when we needed him most. And a lot of families that today and the next couple of days will be still mourning losses. Love that guy. So who the hell are we to judge him?
He stood strong and he survived.
That's
Look
right.
at him now. He's thriving. He's going to have his reunion tonight, and I believe a reunion with the mayor on Sunday, Mayor Giuliani.
Yes.
So anyway, all the love and the luck to Bernie Kerik. And on the line with us right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of American heroes.
Oh!
Yeah. Back on Bernie and Sid here on WABC is Ann Coulter, the author of the new book, In Trump We Trust, E Pluribus Awesome. Ann, good morning.
Good morning.
How the hell are you?
Fantastic.
I like what I hear.
Well, then answer this, Ann, right off the bat. Of course, when Donald Trump kind of went back and forth on the whole immigration thing, and the consensus was you were really pissed off. You were thinking about pulling the book off the shelf, and you were very, very angry. And just answer this: how angry were you with Donald? Were you ever really, really pissed off?
No, I think he was just doing it to promote my book.
Nice.
It's the only time
That's
the media
brilliant.
notices I exist, when they think they can laugh at me, or when I have any helpful, constructive criticism for my candidate, Donald Trump. They did the same thing when I had, again, helpful criticism of when Trump sent out that unattractive, he retweeted, and as we all know, retweets don't count, that unattractive photo of Heidi Cruz. And I went on that Milo podcast and very happily and helpfully took the position that it was loutish and lowbrow, and Milo taking the position that the retweet was awesome. And suddenly, I turn on TV and all these networks that would never, ever, ever actually put me on.
You're the hero.
Who wants to take a risk on at that point, 11-time New York Times best-selling author? She might not have. So they just put up what I said as if it were said in earnest anger. They do this to Trump, to me, to conservatives all the time. You say something that is so obviously a joke, and the media turn around and repeat it as if it's serious.
So you were never really you were never really going to pull the book off the shelf, then? Never.
That was a joke on Hardball. Anyone who saw it live, people laughed. That's how you can tell it's a joke. Well, you know this, Bernie.
Of course, absolutely. Now, so then Trump gets invited to Mexico, goes to Mexico, gives that great immigration speech,
yes,
which you just lavished praise on him for. I mean, it was brilliant, and everything's well with the world right now.
Oh, everything's fantastic. I was just thinking, part of the reason the media keeps saying the immigration speech, like his other speeches, they won't. That was the other purpose, I think, to his phony softening the week before, to force every cable news station to carry his speech live. I mean, they did treat it like it was, I don't know, a Normandy landing or something, because they were so excited that he was going to soften on immigration, and they have not been showing his speeches. And I must recommend to your listeners to listen. Go to the source. Get it from the horse's mouth. Don't believe this nonsense you hear of other people describing the speeches, because I will be critical of Trump when I think he's done something wrong. But in the past month or so, he hasn't done anything wrong. His speeches have been amazingly good. And think to yourself, isn't it odd that they never actually show you the speech? They just come on TV and say, oh, it was awful, it was dark, it was horrible, you don't want to see it. You just trust us. No, don't trust the media on this. But think of how much the country has changed. I mean, if you just read that immigration speech, I defy anyone to pull a paragraph out of it that would not get 90% agreement from the American people. The most important line, which is an all-new way of looking at immigration, and Trump is the first presidential candidate to think this. He says, immigration policy, the lodestar of our immigration policy will be, is it good for Americans? What kind of country are we that, oh, that's awful, it's dark?
Well, listen, let me play devil's advocate for a second, Ann, because we know you love Donald, so does Bernard, and I love you both. I don't care. That's good for you. But when you say he's done nothing wrong the last month, he is very quick to hammer Hillary Clinton for voting yes on the Iraq war, this despite the fact that he's on record saying the same thing on the Howard Stern show before he changed his mind a year after that. Also, this new love affair with Putin, who is not exactly the nicest guy in the world, seems to put a lot of Americans off. So how has it been a great couple of weeks for Donald Trump?
Just look at the polls.
For one thing, the Iraq war thing, and luckily you guys are a radio station, so you can play it. That, when I first saw the written words, yeah, I guess so, I thought, oh, okay, so he was supporting it. Then you hear the way he says it. Oh, my gosh, it's so obvious. That's a yes that means no. Stern says, so are you in favor, when the country is in the middle of war fever? And Trump's answer, I will try to imitate it, is, yeah,
You know what? You don't even have to. You don't have to, Ann. We'll play it because
Are you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, give me a break.
Exactly right. It was very non-committal.
That sounds like a yes to me. I'm sorry. I disagree with both of you.
That is definitely a no to a country in the middle of war fever. I mean, it's hard to...
And he was an entertainer at the time. He wasn't...
He's still an entertainer. And what about the Putin thing? How does that thing sit well with you?
I love seeing the left transform themselves into John Birch conspiracy theorists. Could have used this back in the 1950s. No, it's insane. I mean, it's the left who's always telling us. And by the way, you are very suggestible, Bernie. I'm going to tell the listeners, don't be like Bernie. It shows you're not paying attention to things. You're just believing whatever you hear out in the air out there. Oh, Putin. Well, we have lots of allies who are not perfect. That's diplomacy. We try to work with ones. For Pete's sake, Hillary and Bush were best friends with all these Saudi leaders. They're the ones behind 9/11. What has Putin done to us? He doesn't have any ability to do anything to us. He's trying to hold his country together after all these globalists like George Soros looted it after the fall of communism. He hasn't. I think it's madness, the crazed conspiracy theories we are getting out of the left that are crazier than anything the John Birchers ever said. And that was when the Soviet Union was up and running and actually was conspiring against us.
Right. And what would be wrong with getting along with Putin and Russia if we could? If we could. And by the way,
it's this one, for the first time ever, the left is not interested in diplomacy.
Right.
It's crazy.
And they say he's a bad guy. Well, look, Saddam Hussein was a bad guy. We would have been better off leaving Saddam Hussein in place. Same thing with Mubarak. Same thing with Gaddafi.
Yep.
Same thing with Putin. If we can get along with a bad guy, if it benefits us, let's do it.
Absolutely right. It's very strange, that simultaneously the left wants to go to war with the rest of the world and bring them here.
It's inexplicable is what it is. And now listen, Ann Coulter, switching gears, you did this roast with Ann Coulter on the phone with Bernie and Sid here on WABC. You did this roast of Rob Lowe.
Technically of Ann Coulter.
It turned into that.
I should have been on the marquee.
It absolutely turned into that. But you say that they sort of edited your performance and made you look bad.
I didn't see it, but I was there. And if people are saying I didn't get laughs, well, that's a lie. I mean, I assume your listeners are smart enough to know that these shows are edited. Reality TV isn't real. Rachel and Monica were not living in a fabulous apartment above Washington Square. This is the magic of television. Look, there are like 50 cameras. Cameramen walking around. There are mics all over. Yeah, this is what film editors do. I spend half my time in L.A. A lot of my friends do this precise thing. So this isn't like a new thing. They edited it. No, we know they edited it, and if they showed that I was heckled, well, that's a lie. I wasn't heckled.
No, are you sorry you did it at this point?
No, again.
You publicized the
since
book.
I'm
Right.
for Donald Trump, I am 100% blacklisted. You know about the book now.
That's right. Bitches.
Also, and you will appreciate this, Bernie. I now have. I mean, I already kind of had it. I have at least a decade where I can say anything. I sat pleasantly listening to Ann Coulter is the C word, and someone helpfully counted it up for me yesterday. 19 times.
Wow.
I didn't flinch. I smiled. If it was funny, I laughed. Most of just hearing Ann Coulter is the C word isn't. I don't really get the funny twist at the end. Okay, I think now liberals are going to have to listen to me say retard, illegal alien, sanctuary city without, crying and falling apart. Develop a little thicker skin.
What's fair is
But
fair.
did any of those people? It's funny. I was watching somebody this morning, Bernard, and somebody on television saying that what Hillary should do in the debates is do exactly what Ann just talked about. When Trump, in fact, goes after her, just kind of grin and smile and act like it doesn't really bother you. But did any of those folks, whether it was David Spade or Jeff Ross, anybody specifically really actually get under your skin? Where you're like, what a jerk off.
Not really. I mean, it could have been funnier. That's really what the problem is. As Bill Maher's most frequent guest on Politically Incorrect, when I was on with a very successful person, a big actor, no matter how big a lefty they were, Tim Robbins, Dave Matthews, Kenneth Cole, I could name 10 of them. They were always perfectly lovely to me. It was when I was going to be on Politically Incorrect with somebody I hadn't heard of before. I knew, the has-beens and the wannabes, this is what they do to make a name for themselves. They just sit there and go after Ann Coulter, and this was an entire dais of has-beens and wannabes. So,
right.
I prefer funny jokes, and there are funny jokes that use the C word or ask a person to die about anything. Bernie knows this. You can make a joke about anything, and it can be funny. These weren't the funny ones.
and here's the thing, too, Ann Coulter. You have a thick skin. A person like you is a true feminist. You're the true feminist. You're not whining about sexism the way Hillary Clinton was doing that yesterday on the tarmac when she was doing her do-over from the Intrepid the debacle. You're not saying sexist. Yeah, you're a strong woman. It's gender equality. You take the hits just like the guys take the hits.
Yeah, and it's just words. People should learn to subscribe to the sticks and stones philosophy, but it is hilarious after the Hollywood, I can't call it the Hollywood left because these really aren't Hollywood people. Again, they're has-beens and wannabes. And that's what the problem was. But after having to listen to myself call the C word, again, 19 times, someone helpfully counted, to have wake up to Hillary denouncing the sexism of Reince Priebus saying she should smile more.
I know. Give me a break. Hey, sticks and stones will break my bones, but chains and whips excite me, baby. That's what I'm saying. Listen, let's get back to the election quickly here. Florida, Hillary and Trump tied. Ohio, I think Trump's ahead. North Carolina, Pennsylvania tightening up. How does it look to you, Ann?
Well, I've always thought it's more likely Trump wins than loses, so I do think he's going to win. I guess I'm not saying that the polls mean nothing, but gosh, an awful lot of them were were wrong before. I would say that the price of admission for my book, now it's like $14 on Amazon, by the way, is the Genius's Appendix, where I just go through the primary and what all of our betters were saying to us, were telling us that Trump would never make it out of Iowa, he'd never make it out of New Hampshire, that he has more chance of cameoing in Home Alone than becoming the Republican nominee. And I just have the date, the quote, for 15 pages. I could have done it for the entire book if I had had more time on Nexus. So we've been told that this is impossible before.
What happens, though? Look, I don't really care all that much, I have to be honest, Ann, because I think they're both really lousy candidates. Really lousy, both of them. What happens if Trump loses? You've been all in. For the first deal of the deck, you've been all in with Donald Trump. If he loses, how do you feel about this country moving forward? Do you lose all hope for the United States?
Yes. This is, we're at the tipping point. At least I'll have my answer. Has the left so transformed America that a candidate who says, government policy will be based on what's best for the people who live here, that's considered hate speech. The long march through the institutions by the left, maybe it has worked. They have brainwashed millennials into thinking that Americans are the worst people on earth, and anyone we can replace an American with makes this country better. No, America is. It's the culture, the country that gleams and works the best. It's the most successful. It is the greatest country in the history of the world, and that will be gone. I mean, both Hillary and Tim Kaine say they will immediately amnesty all, as we know, at least 30 million illegal aliens, probably more like 40 or 50. That also will start another rush to the border for others wanting in on their amnesty. She wants to more than quadruple the number of Muslim refugees coming in.
Right.
Look, we can assimilate anyone to our successful way of life, but we can't in these numbers. And it's been going on for 50 years now, bringing in people from the most different. And look, I'm not politically correct. They are not as successful cultures. They are backward cultures. They do, have honor killings and clitorectomies and child rape,
right.
And massive financial frauds. This will so transform our country that there will be no point to at least what I have been doing for most of my life, what a lot of talk radio hosts do, when Fox News does. It'll be over. The country will be Brazil, run for the very elites against the working class, and the middle class will be gone.
True, and not only do they not assimilate well, we don't have the money to take care of refugees. We have veterans to take care of. We have inner cities to rebuild, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So forget all that nonsense and vote Donald Trump. Ann Coulter, you're a great guest. The book is In Trump We Trust. E Pluribus Awesome. The author again, Ann Coulter, our guest here. Thank you very much, Ann Coulter.
Great
Great
job.
to talk to you. Bye-bye.
Always
See you.
a
Take
pleasure.
care. Excellent job, Ann Coulter. 1-800-848-WABC. 1-800-848-9222. Curtis and Kubi in about 37 minutes. More of Bernie and Sid right after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.